what do you mean? You work for me? I said, well, but the tenant's lease is with me. Yes, I do work for you, but that would not be legal or ethical, to do that, right? Because even though I do work for the owner, I'm bound by, the my professional association, as long as I'm also a member of the board of realtors. We have a code of ethics that we're supposed to treat the whole public fairly, not just our clients. And I said, first of all, this is the wrong kind of towel. It's right above the dishwasher, which is begging to be cracked because of the machine-like nature of the dishwasher, right? It moves. So in that case, I fired my owner. So he didn't fire me, I fired him. I said, you need to find another property manager. I took out $50 from the tenant's security deposit to repair the tile, but we didn't repair it, and I paid for it myself, basically. Right? I gave $50 to the owner, right? So, because I wasn't going to take it for the security deposit, it just wasn't right. And then, just wash my hands of him and let him go the other way. So, reconciling security deposit and doing it fairly and correctly is probably one of the big ones. Another one is probably have to do with repairs. Excuse me. How do you handle repairs? Who's to pay for them? And again, it comes into the issue of was it damaged by the tenant, or was it just normal wear and tear? Those types of things. One of the things that's come up recently is window coverings. Now, there's lots of different kind of window coverings you get. You get mini blinds, vertical blinds, shutters, draw drapes, and curtains. So what we've been going to lately, and I've been advising my clients, is to use curtains. And this is a flat panel curtains that's like on a dowel rod, and there's no mechanism to break, or to file up. And of course, everything rests in Hawaii, so you don't have to worry about it rusting. And they're relatively inexpensive. If the tenants don't like the color, they can go to Walmart and buy another set, hang them up. They're washable, whereas most draw drapes are not. Okay. And if you have a set of drapes, or say vertical blinds, those are the worst ones, because it's windy, the vertical blinds, they go like this, and they make a lot of noise, and they end up breaking, the mechanism, or they get rusty. Then curtains don't do that, right? They just slide on the bar, you can tie them away. But if the vertical blinds break, well, is it because the tenants didn't take care of it correctly? Or is it because of the weather? Is it because of the wind? It's because of the fire department. I don't know. Whatever it is, right? We don't know. But if you have a curtain and it's stained, well, that's pretty cut and dry. Then you got to buy new ones. Or it's easy for the tenants to buy new curtains. It's maybe $20, $25 than to buy $600 draw drapes, right? So, those types of issues are always big ones. It can be kind of contentious between clients and customers. Customers are our tenants. Clients, of course, are our owners, because we have a fiduciary relationship with our clients. So those are some of the issues. Anything to deal with money is always a big issue, right? And that's why I urge my owners, you have to protect your assets. Okay? Especially if you have multiple properties, you might want to think about forming an LLC or putting your properties in trust, right? Because a lot of clients, they don't know that, the basis of wealth in this country is real estate. That's going to be usually your biggest asset, and you want to be able to protect your asset, and you want to be able to pass it down relatively tax-free to your children or grandchildren. And you can't do that yourself. You really need to have it in a trust. So I do recommend my clients to put their properties in trust.
That's good. Yeah. Are you the person that would be called if the refrigerator breaks down in the middle of the night and the food is all spoiling in the refrigerator? I mean, it's the same issue, I guess, about how old is the refrigerator and what did they do, but would the tenants call you?
Unfortunately, yes. Yeah, my cell phone number is the emergency number. And we generally tell tenants an emergency is flood, blood, or fire. Okay. Those are the real emergencies. I had a tenant call me one Sunday afternoon. Just got back from church, was relaxing, watching football or something. Ring, ring, ring. There's my telephone. Hello. Yes, this is so and so, and my closet pole fell.
Oh my gosh.
So I said, well, put it back up. So, but he couldn't fix it himself, right? So I said, well, I tell you what, why don't you call the office leave your name, address, telephone number on the answer machine, and then somebody will get you on Monday morning. That wasn't an emergency. I had a call 2 nights ago where a tenant locked himself out of his townhouse in Ewa Beach, but we don't provide lockout service. I'm not going to go to the office, get the keys, run down there. I said it's cheaper if you hire a locksmith, because my time is worth more than a locksmith. I'm going to charge you extra money, right? So we don't have lockout services. But of course, refrigerators. We probably replace 2 or 3 refrigerators a month in our company. And that's why we deal with a vendor that we know and trust, and we usually get good prices for our clients. And that's another thing that we do. We're like the hub of a wheel with our clients. We have a spoke going out here to the mortgage company, a spoke going out here to the electrician, a spoke going out here to the appliance repairman, to the handyman, to the carpenter. And so we're right there in the middle. We kind of control that wheel, right? So we work with vendors over many, many years. We know and trust them. We get good prices for our clients. But refrigerator, again, we're not always able to get a brand new refrigerator the very next day. So we tell them, well, look, do you have any ice chests, coolers, or go to a neighbor, if it's been out for a long time, just throw it away. I'm sorry, no, we can't reimburse you, right? Because that's a common question. Oh, I just bought $100 worth of food. Can you pay? I said, no, sorry, we can't. Because one of the things that we always tell our tenants at the very time that we signed a lease, one of our addendum that we add to our lease was, number one issue is insurance. We don't require them to get insurance, but we encourage them. Renters insurance.
Renters insurance.
We encourage them to get renters insurance, because the owner's insurance covers the owner's stuff, and your insurance covers your stuff, and they don't match. Classic case in point. I had one tenant a couple years ago in Manoa, which is normally known as a very wet place anyway. We had the 100-year rain, where this just poured and poured and poured, and we had water intrusion into the house. And he had some stuff in boxes lined up right next to the wall, right under the jealousy windows, right? And apparently water came in through the jealousy and also came up, wicked in through the outside. And there was some antique film equipment in there. And the client's son, was an attorney, right? So
nice guy.
Yeah, nice guy. He writes me this nice letter and say, well, our property was damaged. It's because the house was blah 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 blah. We want to be reimbursed to the tune of X amount of money. And so I wrote back to him, have you checked with your insurance company? And that's the only thing I wrote, and then put CC to the owner's CC to my attorney, right? And of course, when he got that, he wasn't very happy. And I said, look, when we signed the lease, we explained to you, right, that you need to have insurance for your stuff. The owner's insurance doesn't cover your stuff. So he wasn't happy, never took me to court because he knew he would lose, right? So those kind of things that we go over with the tenant, we go over with the client. One other interesting thing, if I can say here, that talking about...
We got 1 minute left, so...
Yeah, 1 minute. Okay, real briefly, is that we find that many of our clients have what I call the Camelot syndrome. And what that is, they have an emotional attachment to their home because maybe it's their first home or whatever, and they have this memory of it of being really nice and really pristine, and then they move out for 5 years, and then they come back and they expect it that way or better. That's where the Camelot syndrome. Well, not a dump. We're not going to let the tenants keep it as a dump, but there's wear and tear.
Right.
And tenants, bless them, they don't generally keep a property as well as, say, an owner would.
Sure.
So we warn owners about those kind of things. But it's an interesting and fun business.
It sounds like it.
Yeah. Well, so it's really important to have a clear understanding up front in writing with the tenants, and that's just going to make the whole relationship a lot easier.
That's correct.
And having someone who knows what they're doing in terms of the property management can really be a big help to the owner.
Right. It might be cheaper to have Uncle Joe take care of it, but you don't want Uncle Joe to pull your teeth either.
That's true. Well, Carl, thank you very much for being on the show. Until next week, ahui ho.